Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. For those of you who take lessons with me on italki, you will know that in order to speak better, I always recommend shadowing. Many people that try shadowing don't actually do it correctly, which is why I wanted to make this podcast to clarify what shadowing is, how you should be doing it, and what the benefits are. First of all, shadowing is not an all-singing, all-dancing way to make your English perfect. Shadowing is designed for you to be speaking English more naturally. If we think about music, when you first start to play the piano, sometimes you start by hitting individual notes, bum, 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 and there's a lot of spaces between those notes. Likewise, when you start to speak, you often have these gaps. I am Joseph, and I am an. And even when you speak faster, I am Joseph and I am, we still retain the spaces. It's like a kind of a habit from our early days of learning. If you listen to a child speaking, uttering his first notes, it has those same spaces. But children very quickly grow out of that because they hear the way their father speaks. They hear lots of media on TV, and very soon they're speaking much better. English learners, on the other hand, don't have that second chance. They don't have that automatic right to suddenly speaking better. So what happens is they learn the words, but they never really learn how to present them properly. This is the idea behind shadowing. So when you shadow, it's not with a transcript, and you don't even have to understand anything. You simply say whatever you think you hear. So, for example, if you hear ba 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 use the 10, say it. Try to say it. Try to say those bits, even if you don't understand what's being said. It's not about the words that's being said. It's all about how you sound. So the purpose of shadowing is actually to improve your presentation of English, your sounds of English. It has nothing to do with vocabulary, grammar. There is an idea or an opinion that you should be reading a transcript. Any transcript you should be reading for shadowing should simply be a list of sounds. That's all. So it's really very, very important that you remember this. So shadowing is designed to get you to speak faster, to take away those spaces, and depending on exactly where you are or what you're shadowing with, to reduce some sounds or some accents. You hear and you say. You simply repeat like a game. And the more complex you make that, the more difficult it becomes. Keep it simple. Hear, say. Hear, say. If you want to take the transcript of the podcast and try to learn vocabulary from it or use other tools to work with it, such as building your vocabulary, building your grammar, examining it for clauses, for different grammar types like conditionals and comparatives. Of course, you can do that as well. You can do that as well. But what you can't do is expect that to change the way that you speak. So that's the background of shadowing. All right. And now let's move on to talk about how you should be doing it. Basically, whatever you hear, you should be repeating. As I said a moment ago, even if that's blah, 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 say it. Say it. Because that will allow you to practice it more. There's only 50 sounds in English, so if you do shadowing for 20 minutes, you'll be repeating all of the sounds. I'm sure many of you have already had a look at the phonetic alphabet, so that can guide you as to the sounds that are being made. I personally prefer the anti-moon guide. It has little recorded clips online. I'll paste the link in our show notes in the description. But it's really very, very important that whatever you hear, you say in the same moment at the same time. So even if it's bo, 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 you make those sounds, because practicing those sounds and trying to imitate a native speaker will, of course, improve how you speak. It sounds a bit superficial. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little bit of time and a little bit of practice. So all you should have in front of you is your sounds of English, maybe open on the computer, and when you hear a sound on the radio, try to say it. If you find that too difficult, just take one sound and try and change how you use it. For example, if it's the letter E or I, just have a look at the mouth movements of a native speaker when he's making these sounds within a word. That's how easy shadowing is. In fact, it's so easy that many people just can't do it because they're expecting a study of words, a study of grammar, but there's nothing academic about shadowing. Shadowing is a practice. That's all it is. Okay, there's nothing to study. It's just about hearing and imitating until your voice sounds exactly like the person you're hearing. Be careful though, because if you're always listening to American media and you live in the UK, you could be developing a bit of an American accent. And also, if you're in the UK and perhaps you have an intention or like to listen to media from Ireland, you could end up with an Irish accent. So try to shadow something that's meaningful, something which has meaning in your life. I hope you found this helpful. Let me just add a few other points about the benefits of shadowing. You shadow so you can sound like someone. It's a little bit superficial, all right? There's nothing about it, though, which is going to harm you or is going to do anything that you don't want to do. But you do need to be aware that the purpose of this is to physically change how you speak. Now, what I'm hearing as a teacher from many people is, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't change the way I speak. And if you honestly believe that, then you will never change how you speak. If you just do it one letter at a time, it'll become much easier and also much easier for those around you. You can do it with a teacher just to check that you sound okay. But you really shouldn't be worrying so much about these kinds of things. It's very simple. Hear and say. Hear and say. Now, of course, there is a danger that you'll get all the sound wrong, and you can expect that in the first few weeks. But ultimately, as you go on, especially with some mentoring, you should have the confidence to use the new sounds, and you should begin to see how other people react or understand you better. There's nothing weird about it. You're just doing the things which perhaps your children have already done if they've grown up in the UK. I hope you found this helpful. Don't be afraid of trying to shadow. It's the most natural thing in the world, and the only thing you have to lose is your bad accent. There we are. See you soon. Bye.